Good morning, boys and girls. Today we're going to review the RACE strategy. And the RACE strategy is something that we've been using in class to answer our reading response questions, okay? So what we're going to do today is I'm going to read this top section, which is titled Transportation, and I'm going to model a question using the RACE strategy. And then you're going to read the second section, New Materials, and you are going to use the RACE strategy to answer the question that is given at the end. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to review what RACE means. It's restate the question, answer the question, cite evidence, and explain your reason, okay? The reason that we use the RACE strategy is because the R, the restate the question, is going to help us stay on topic. The A part where we answer the question, and then the C is where we get our cited evidence that proves why that answer is correct, okay? So we're going to start using the RACE strategy to answer those reading response questions that we have in class. So I'm going to read this top section on transportation. I noticed that there's an illustration of a bird and an airplane, okay? So that may be something that I may look at later, okay? Because that may help me understand the text better. Where did the inventors of planes and submarines get their design ideas? They noticed that animals are shaped in special ways that allow them to move easily through the air and water. So you'll notice they have a picture of a bird with its wings flapped out that kind of looks similar to an airplane. So it seems like they looked at the way that a bird was shaped in order to create that airplane. And then they may have looked at how fish swam in the ocean in order to create submarines. So let's go to my next slide. What I have done here is provided a graphic organizer, okay? And so this graphic organizer just helps me keep my RACE strategy organized since this is new for us, okay? Since this is the first year for you guys. And later on, we're going to move from using the graphic organizer to just writing it into a paragraph form. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at my question. And my question is, what did the inventors of planes and submarines notice about the way animals are shaped? So I'm going to go up at the top and I'm going to restate my question. So I need to take this question down here and turn it into a command. So in order to do that, I'm going to give you all a little tool that you can use for right now. We can start off by saying, let me tell you. Well, what are you going to tell me about? What inventors of planes and submarines notice about the way animals are shaped. So that's what you're telling me about. So if you add that, let me tell you, then you can just write the question down and you've restated your question. So let me tell you what inventors of planes and submarines noticed about the way animals are shaped. Okay, so now I've taken that question and I've turned it into a command and restated my question by just adding let me tell you. So I've restated my question. Now I need to answer my question. So what did the inventors notice? Well, they noticed that they were shaped special and that allowed them to be able to fly and swim. Okay, so there's my answer. They noticed they were shaped in a special way that allowed them to fly and swim, right? Okay. So now I've restated my question and I've answered my question. So let's read what I have so far. Let me tell you what inventors of planes and submarines noticed about the way animals are shaped. They noticed they were shaped in a special way that allowed them to fly and swim. So I've restated, I've answered. Now I need to add my text evidence. So I need to find some evidence that supports they were shaped in a special way. Since this little section is really short, it's easy to find that. I notice right here that this sentence here supports my answer. They noticed that animals are shaped in a special way that allows them to move easily through the air and water. And I underline that because I've got to come back and I have to type in every single bit of that because that's my cited evidence. You'll also notice in my race poster, the C will have me some sentence stems that I can start out my answer with. So according to the text, the author says, or for example. So I'm going to pick and I'm going to start out my cited evidence with according to the text. So according to the text, I'm going to put a comma and my quotation marks since I'm pulling that text evidence from the text and it's not my own words. So I'm going to come back here and notice the parts that I've underlined. I have to type all of that in. So according to the text, they notice that animals are shaped in special ways that allow them to move easily through the air and water. They notice that animals are shaped in special ways. I need to go back and find what comes after ways that allow them to move easily through the air and water. And that is all my text evidence, so I end it with my quotation marks. So now I've restated my question, I've answered my question, and I've cited my evidence. So let's read what I have so far. Let me tell you what inventors of planes and submarines noticed about the way animals are shaped. They noticed they were shaped in a special way that allowed them to fly and swim. According to the text, they noticed that animals are shaped in special ways that allow them to move easily through the air and water. So I've restated my question, I've answered my question, I've cited my evidence. Now I have to explain my evidence, my E part, okay? And if I go back to my race poster, I'll notice in my explain my evidence or my reasoning, they have sentence stems there as well. This shows that, this is why, this proves. So I'm going to pick this proves to start out my explain your evidence, okay? Okay, so this proves, well, what does this prove? This proves what inventors of planes and submarines noticed about the way animals are shaped. So I just pretty much restate that question. So this proves what inventors of planes and submarines noticed about the way animals are shaped. Okay? So now that I've restated my question, I've answered my question, I've cited evidence, and explained my reasoning, I'm finished. So let's read what I have so far. Let me tell you what inventors of planes and submarines noticed about the way animals are shaped. They noticed they were shaped in a special way that allowed them to fly and swim. According to the text, they noticed that animals are shaped in special ways that allow them to move easily through the air and water. This proves what inventors of planes and submarines noticed about the way animals are shaped. Okay, since I've modeled that one, now you're going to go and you're going to read the second section here and you're going to answer this question using the race strategy. You may not get all parts right, and that's okay because this is new to us, but just try your best and we'll go over it tomorrow in class.